So you know how across the country, citizens have been passing ballot initiatives to save abortion rights and legalize weed and raise the minimum wage and stuff? Here in Ohio, Republicans are trying to take that right away from us. This guy, right here, Frank LaRose, he runs our state's elections. He's the reason why we only have one ballot drop box per county, and why people have to pay for postage in Ohio to return their absentee ballots.
It's no surprise that Republicans are at the forefront of voter suppression and anti-democratic foolery. Ever since the historic voter turnout in 2020 that was largely responsible for creating the Democratic trifecta in the White House, they have been passing hundreds of anti-voter legislation to prevent the will of the people. Despite their devious efforts, it wasn't enough to prevent us from retaking the Senate during the midterms. However, the damage was definitely done and they aren't finished.
And the craziest part is he's not even trying to hide what he's doing. This proposal would only apply to Ohio citizens. If you go out and you collect signatures for months to put an amendment on Ohio's ballot, you would need 60% of the vote in order to make your proposal into law. If the Republican supermajority that runs our state house decides to put something on the ballot, they only need 50% plus one, a simple majority. This is real bad.
This is really bad. One of the most effective ways voters can get the policies they want is by referendum. It's one of the purest forms of democracy. And Republicans, being who they are, want to bastardize that process and steal our freedoms. We saw the same thing happen in Arizona with the Fair Elections Ballot Initiative. After months of organizing, grassroots organizers collected 2 times as many petition signatures than needed to pass major democracy reform in the state, and the Republican Supreme Court threw over half of them, preventing it from being on the ballot. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, cannabis legalization was on the ballot as an advisory referendum, meaning that no matter how many people voted for it, it only serves as a suggestion for legislators instead of a policy the people chose. 74% of the Milwaukee electorate voted for it. We cannot continue to let them kill our democracy.
I don't care which party you support. The power should lie with the people. And politicians like Frank LaRose, who come in and literally try to take power away from us and give it to themselves, they're the problem. I'm up on my soapbox right now, but we cannot let this amendment pass.
She's absolutely correct. This should be concerning to everyone, no matter what side of the political aisle you reside on. Don't get me confused. Both political parties participate in corruption that threaten the rights and civic participation of voters. I'm talking money and politics. However, it's a hypocritical Republican Party who constantly goes on about protecting freedoms while blatantly stripping them away. And they'll keep taking and taking and taking until there's nothing left for us, any of us. They love to go on about states' rights, but when the people of the state vote directly, it's stricken down. So how can we hold these politicians accountable when there's no avenues in government to do so? Well, it starts by educating yourself and others on your representative's record and what they promise voters. You should attend community events and join your local grassroots organizations. And if you can't, donate to them. Participate in local actions like protests, teach-ins, and sit-ins. Most importantly, don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. None of what I said above is a guarantee to making sure our elected officials are accountable, because what we actually need to do is challenge the system itself, and that is a very hard thing to do. Remember, there are 2 types of power that govern this country's progress: organized money and organized people. They have a lot of money, but we do have the people. We have to start by rejecting the normal bureaucratic methods they tell us to pursue because it reinforces the status quo, and begin finding innovative ways to transform the system into a more just, fair, and accountable one. We have to protect what makes our democracy great. You're watching TYT The Breakdown. Like this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.